A lot of you really enjoyed the previous video I have on creating like a project from beginning till end using only AI programming. So today we have a variant of this. We're gonna introduce Cursor. So this is an AI powered IDE, and we're gonna use GPT-4o structured output for the first time. I thought that was pretty interesting. But now I just want to show you a demo of what we're gonna build today, and then I'm gonna take you to step by step every step I use to build this app. Let's get started. Okay, so how you can use this now, you can say YouTube moments, find the exact moment you need. So we're gonna paste in a YouTube URL in the input field, click on transcribe to wait for the process to complete, enter a keyword and click search to find your specific moments, right? So let's find a YouTube video here, the Primagen. Let's just copy the YouTube link here. Let's go back to our app, let's paste it in, and you can see we get like an iframe here of the video. I think that's pretty cool. So you can also watch the video from here. So when we click on transcribe now, what is going to happen is we're going to download the audio from this video, use OpenAI Whisper to actually transcribe all of this into like a JSON file that we can again search using GPT-4o structured output to find specific moments in this video. And then we get like a nice list that I'm going to show you soon. So let's just let this complete. Okay, you can see now we are almost complete. So you can see transcription completed. You can now search the video below. So let's type in, let's do Rust, something like that, like a programming language. And now we are kind of searching. Okay, so you can see we found a search result here. So this link now will take us around this moment where you use the keyword Rust in the video. So let's click on this.
Clear you're hoping to become an
So you can see we have about 7 seconds off. So if we go a bit forward here.
That dream might be washed up as your JavaScript skills. Damn. Learning Rust and Vue.js.
Learning Rust and Vue.js, you can see. Okay, yeah, we found it here. So perfect. Let's try another search term. So let's do Linus. Okay, so we got a new timestamp. Let's click on this.
Linus, by the way.
Yeah, you heard that straight away. So this is how the app works. So you can kind of get multiple answers here too. So let's do, I don't know. Let's do JavaScript, right? Yeah, you can see we got some more responses here. So that is how the app works. Pretty easy to use, but quite powerful if you want to find the moment in your video. So the idea behind this, if you have like a huge, let's say a podcast, you can find different subtopics if you want to find that in the video. So in this video, I'm going to show you from beginning till end how I built this and how you can too. So what you just saw in the intro is the app we are going to be building today. So I just call it like a YouTube search app. So basically the user, as you saw, can input a YouTube URL. We can click on transcribe to download and transcribe the audio. So this is going to happen on the backend using OpenAI Whisper. The user can then enter like a keyword to search for in the video. This could be like if it's a big podcast, you may be wondering, is there, or do they talk about this in any segments in the video? So the app will then display the occurrences of this keyword with hopefully like a time frame and a link to the keyword in the video. So the user then can just click on this link to get to that part of the video, as I guess you just saw in the intro demo, right? So here you can kind of see my usual visual prompt that I'm always using. We're going to take a quick look at that before we get going. So what we'll be using today is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. We're going to use OpenAI Whisper. We might use GPT-4o too, we'll see. React, right? JavaScript, that is going to be our kind of front end, and the JavaScript is going to be like a node backend and stuff. We will look into that. But also we are going to try the Cursor IDE in this video. That is kind of like an AI IDE that we can kind of select Claude 3.5 Sonnet. You will see using this. You will see me using this during this video. So I thought that was pretty interesting and kind of cool alternative to just using VS Code Studio, right? So by that, I think we're just going to get going and start building this. So for this project, I thought we can use like a combination of Claude projects. We can also use Cursor, and we're going to use some GPT-4o too. But I think we're just going to start here over on Claude 3.5 projects. If you don't have access to this, it doesn't matter too much, but it's just a nice place to start, I think. So I'm just going to click on projects, create a project here, and just name it like YouTube search app. And yeah, just a nice place to start here. So I'm gonna write like a set custom instructions here. So let me quickly pull that up. So I'm just gonna use kind of my standard custom instructions here. So you're an expert web developer with expertise in JavaScript, React, etc. Your task is to develop based on the instruction from the user and build with React components. I want Claude to return full code files, no hashtag rest of the code-ish. When you write code, always use very descriptive variable names, use comments, but only for complicated stuff. write clean and effective code. So this is kind of my template for these custom instructions when I'm using these projects. So I think that's a good start. But I just wanted to show you where I kind of started this project before, because there was one thing I needed to know before I began this project. So I'm just going to take you over to Cursor now, and I'm going to show you what I started this project with. So if you go over to Cursor here, you can see this is basically like a VS Code Studio IDE, right? But we have something called chat here. So this is kind of connected to Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit here. Yeah, that should be a bit better. So you can see I have selected Claude 3.5 Sonnet here. And I just started with a simple prompt in this chat here because I needed to know if we can actually create a JavaScript project, a JavaScript code or a script in this case that could download like a YouTube video and kind of turn it into an MP3 file, so we can transcribe this MP3 file using OpenAI's Whisper. We got to get more into that. But I used just a chat here. Basically, I used Claude 3.5 Sonnet, right, to get this script. So how this works now is, if we can make this a bit smaller, right? I'm just going to put in like a URL here, right? So I think I just went over to my YouTube page. I just copied like a URL here from my latest video, right? And just pasted it in here. So if we run this now, right, this is going to go to this URL, and we're going to download and convert this video into like an MP3 file. It's gonna take a little while, not too long. So let me just let this run, and then we can kind of listen. Okay, that was quick. So if we click on this now, let me see if we have an audio file here. So yesterday, Anthropic released this blog post. Yeah, you can hear this is my YouTube video, right? So this means that we have this MP3 file that we can again use OpenAI's Whisper on to get the transcription we need for every video that is being searched, right? So this was something I needed to know before I got into this project, but now that we kind of have this small script, we can get going into our project. So I think we're gonna start on our visual prompt. So if you watch any of my other videos, you know I kind of like to use like a visual prompt combining with like a textual prompt, right? So this is one I made for this video. So this is kind of the UI I was thinking about. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple, right? We're gonna have like an input YouTube URL field where the user can like put in like a YouTube URL. We can click like a button, transcribe, and we're gonna have like a iframe here that I think is gonna kind of preview the video so the user know it kind of has the correct YouTube URL. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm gonna try to fix that. And kind of after this has processed, right, we're gonna have some confirmation down here. We're gonna enter like a keyword again, and this is gonna search, work a bit on this, and then we're gonna display the results down here, right? So we're gonna have like a time frame, right? And we're gonna keep like the sentence, so we're gonna extract that with the keyword that the user searched for from up here. And then I kind of want like a link here, right? So we're gonna need like a link down here, so the user can click on to kind of get to that URL. So I guess you kind of saw that in the demo, but that is basically the UI I wanted for this. Keep it pretty simple, but very effective, right? So yeah, we'll just see how this is gonna work. But like always, I think we're gonna start off with this, yeah, visual prompt, and let's take it from there. So let's just go back to the Claude project we started, right? And here and now, I'm just gonna add our visual prompt, right? Because again, I want to start with the front end, so we kind of have like a template at least of our front end. Then we're going to build out the back end using the script we created in Cursor, right? And we're going to add Whisper and stuff. So let me just upload this image, and then we're going to do like a first initial prompt here. Okay, so I uploaded my image, right? So let's just write the prompt here. And we can go through it, right? Okay, so let me quickly just go to the prompt I'm gonna be using here. So I want to create a YouTube search app with a React front end where the user can input a YouTube URL, click a button to transcribe. We will add the backend later, right? The user can search this transcription to find the time frame where the keyword is occurring in the video based on the YouTube URL. The UI will also display the iframe, right? We put in here. Based on the YouTube URL, yeah, iframe. As you can see from the uploaded image, so I kind of reference the image here. The search results will also be displayed below these features with the time frame, sentence of a keyword, and a YouTube link to this time frame. Let's create a React frontend for this app. We will add the backend later. I'm on Windows 11, VS Code, create a step-by-step plan to create my front end, please. So I'm gonna run this now, and then we're gonna try to follow all the steps we get back from Claude 3.5 here, and start building out our project in the Cursor IDE, right? Okay, so you can see here we get like a detailed plan to get me started. We get like a step-by-step here. So the first step is to create a new React project, as you can see here. So I'm just gonna copy this line here, npx create React app. We're gonna give it like a name. So I just created a new folder here in the Cursor IDE. This is pretty much exactly the same in the VS Code IDE, right? So I'm just gonna click on view here, terminal, to kind of bring up our terminal, right? And then we're gonna run this command here. That's gonna be npx create React app, and we give it just a name we got from Claude here, right? So I'm just gonna run this command and start creating our search app here. This is gonna take like a minute or two, so let me just let this run here. Okay, so that was complete. Now we can go back here. You can see we're gonna cd into our directory here, right? So we can just do like this. We can clear this now. Yeah, I can bring this a bit down. And the next step is gonna to install a YouTube package here, React YouTube package. So we're just gonna copy that, go back here. A lot of you recommend me to use Cursor here, so we can bring up this chat here, right? We're gonna try to use that at least for debugging. But for now, we're just gonna follow the steps here from Claude 3.5. So the next step is gonna replace the contents of app.js with the code provided in the artifact above. So we have a component here that is called YouTube search app. So I'm just gonna copy that. We're gonna go back to Cursor here. If we scroll down here, I'm just gonna remove my camera a bit. Okay, so I think that's a bit better. So you can see we have something called source here. We have app.js. Bring this down a bit. So let's replace this. So this is gonna be our new app.js. Okay. Next step is gonna be add some basic styling to index.css. So we can copy this, go back here, index.css. So let's replace that. Okay, save. Update index.js to use the new component. So we can copy this small script here. And we're gonna find index.js. Yeah, here we can replace this, save. And that is kind of the first thing we need to do here. And now we can run this command here, npm start. And let's take a look at how our front end kind of looks now. Of course, we can make changes to this. Now we can just go down here to the terminal, npm start. And this should like pop up, and we can take a look at our front end now. Okay, this is fine. We don't have, let's see if we have the preview here. So I'm just gonna grab like a YouTube URL. So maybe paste in this now. Okay, that worked. So you can see the iframe works. So here we can kind of see my video, right? So I guess the iframe worked pretty smooth. That was quite quick. So if we remove this, it's gone. If we paste it in, yeah, I like that. And we have like the transcribe button, and we have the enter keyword and the search, and we have the search results. So I think this is a very good start actually. So I kind of like this. I want to do it like a dark mode. So for this now, let's try to use the Cursor app, Cursor IDE, right? So how you can use this is, yeah, let's just say you are here on the Cursor IDE. You can click Control L, and this brings up the chat here. And there's something called, I'm going to zoom in a bit on this, Control plus Enter is kind of searching over our code base. So let's start with typing in a prompt here. So I'm just going to go with the prompt. This works good, but I want to give the UI a dark theme. Can you implement a dark theme for my front end, please? And now we're going to click Control plus Enter to kind of use our code base here to create this. So Control plus Enter. And this is now going to read kind of all the files we have here. And you can see now it's kind of looking at our files. It's reading all our files. Okay, so you can see here now we kind of get like a step-by-step instruction here. So let's just let this run, and you can see replace the following contents. And yeah, we're just gonna try to follow these steps. Okay, so update the index.css, so we can copy that. Index.css, let's copy that. Okay. And the next step is gonna be replace the content of this file. Here we can see we kind of have something called apply here. So you can see these are the changes that are gonna be made, so we can accept this. Okay, great, that worked. And if you go further down, you can see update the app.js. So So we can copy this, app.js, right? Copy this. Okay, so we save that. Are there any other steps? Add the following lines. Okay, so we can click on accept. Yeah, we changed those. Let's save that. And finally, update the index.html to set the theme color of the mobile devices. Change this line too. Okay, so we can click on that. That saves us a lot of time. Let's save that. And now let's go back to our app here. Boom, we have like a dark theme. So that is pretty smooth, right? Let me just test this again. Yeah, works great. So that is kind of the power of Cursor. Like, you can do everything inside your IDE here. This is a bit more advanced maybe if you're kind of new to using Claude and stuff like that. But when you get going, you might want to switch over and try one of these AI IDEs. They are pretty smooth and you could save time using this, right, if you get used to them. But now I think we're going to move on to kind of our next step in this project. And that is going to be to start building out our backend, because we want to use, actually, you remember in the start of the video, I used Cursor to create this simple script that can download a YouTube video and turn it into an MP3 file that we can then convert into a transcription text file, right? So you can see I uploaded, or I kind of went back first to our project. I uploaded all the files we have now for our front end. So app.js, index.css, app.css. So this should be a good start here, right? And I uploaded our script here that can download a YouTube video and turn it into an MP3 file for the audio we need. And that I created a prompt here. So I think we're just going to go through this prompt and I'm going to show you some documentation I grabbed for this. So you can see I uploaded the files for the front end YouTube search project, right? The next step is going to be to integrate my YouTube down.js backend script into the front end. First, we need to make some modifications to this script using OpenAI Whisper feature to transcribe the downloaded MP3 file into a text file. I have uploaded some documentation, OpenAI docs.1.text, to how to use the OpenAI Whisper API, right? So let me show you now. So we need some documentation for this. So I just created an empty text file here. So I'm going to go over to OpenAI platform documentation. I'm going to grab some documentation about their speech to text feature here. So I'm just going to grab, I think this should be enough. So I'm just going to grab some text from their documentation. Let's just paste it in here, right? And save that. And go back to our project. So now I'm just going to upload this OpenAI docs1.text file here. Okay, so let's just grab that. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so you can see I also added, I will create a .env file with my OpenAI key because we need that. Create a step-by-step plan, how to update my script and how to integrate this to my front end, please. So I think we're just gonna run with that and see if this can give us like a step-by-step plan and how we can kind of integrate our backend into our front end. Okay, great. We have some new instructions here. So we have a step 1, update our JavaScript file, right? We're going to install some packages. We're going to modify the script to download it. We're going to create some new files. Here, I kind of like to do like a simple prompt. Show me the project folder structure, right? Structure, yeah, I think that's fine. So I think it's kind of nice to see how we should kind of set up our structure here. So we can have a front end and we have a kind of like a back end here, right? And we have a .env file in our root. So yeah, I kind of like to set this up. So let me just create a back end folder here and move this into the front end folder. So we get like a nice structure in our Cursor app here. So let me just set this quickly up so we kind of have our folder structure and then we're going to move on to integrating the steps we got here, right? Okay, so you can see I kind of created a backend folder. We have our YouTube, we're going to upgrade this. So this is on the backend. On the front end, we kind of move all the files into this folder. So this is exactly as it was before, but kind of now we have a nice structure in our project, right? So now I think we're just going to follow these steps. So the first thing we need to do is install these packages. So I'm just going to copy this line here. And let's just go into our backend here, right? YouTube search app, clear, cd backend, right? And let's just run this, install these packages. So while we do that, we can take a quick look at the next step. And that's going to be to update our YouTube down.js script. So I'm just gonna copy this, right? So you can see we have made some changes now. We are introducing like Whisper. We're gonna use our API key and stuff. Okay, so that was installed. Now let's go find our YouTube down.js. So let's upgrade that and let's save it. Okay, it's gonna be interesting to try that. Next step is gonna create a new file called server.js in your project root. Okay, so I'm gonna create that in our backend. So server.js. Okay, so we have like an express server here. So let me just copy this, head back here, save that. Okay, so far so good. And set up the API points. We already set that up in the Express server. Now update our front end to interact with the backend. So we're gonna grab our updated app.js. Let's copy that. And now we gotta go to our front end folder, source app.js, and update this. Okay, so we added a few new lines here. Looks pretty good. Don't forget to install Axios, says. Okay, so let's do that. So let's just go front end, clear, install Axios, maybe if you don't have that. Okay, now create a .env file in your project root and add your OpenAI key. So if you take a look here, you can see in my root here, we have something called .env OpenAI key equals. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab my OpenAI key and just fill that in here. Okay, so that was done. Now I kind of have my API key in my .env file, right? That's great. The next step now is gonna be to start your backend server and start your front end development server. So I'm gonna fire up, copy this node server.js. But now we kind of need two terminals. So we're gonna click on this plus sign here. So you can see we have like a front end here, so we can clear this. And we're gonna go into our project, our backend, right, and runs node server.js. So you can see server is running on port 5000. Okay, great. And now we're gonna start up our front end, npm start, right? So I expect some bugs here now in the beginning. I'll be surprised if this worked out of the bat, but let's try it. So let me grab like an input YouTube URL here. So I'm just gonna grab my video and I'm gonna click on transcribe. So I am expecting some errors now, right? So we can look at console and we can go back here to Cursor and look at the backend. Okay, so we have downloaded the file and I think we got some kind of error here, right? So let me just take a look here. Let's blow this up. It says invalid API key. Okay, so I gotta check my API key and see if there's something wrong with that. Okay, so there was nothing wrong with my API key, but I remember I have some issues using env, so I think I have to set this to something called override equals true. Now let's try to use actually the control L here in Cursor. So if I go control L, right, and let's add a prompt here. So let's just do, I need to use load env override equals true. Can you implement this into my code? And then I'm gonna do control plus enter. So this is gonna read my files and try to find where it should place this into my code. So let's see if this works. So it says we need to modify YouTube down.js. Okay, so we get a suggestion here. So we can change this to override equals true. Perfect. Let's accept that. And let's save it. And yeah, I think that should be it. I'm not 100% sure, so let's restart our server here. Right, node server.js. Great, let's go back here and try to transcribe it now. Okay, so far, let's take a quick look here. Yeah, this is looking better now. I'm not seeing any errors, so hopefully this is working. So let's just try to see if this gets transcribed. And then we can kind of move on if this is working. Okay, perfect. That worked. So yeah, that was the quick fix. So you can see we actually get the transcription printed out here in the front end. We don't really need that, but for now I think it was fine. Yeah, so you can see this is the full transcription from my YouTube video. Perfect. So yeah, just using the cursor here worked pretty good. Pretty happy with that. That was a super easy fix. And now we are kind of ready, I think, to kind of move on to the next step. And I think that's gonna be, I don't want to display this transcription. I think we're just gonna read this on the back end. But we're gonna start working on implementing kind of the search feature here, so we can start searching these transcripts and adding timestamps to like a chunk of this transcript. So yeah, I think we're just gonna move on to that part. And for that, I went back to my Claude project, right? I uploaded all the files we have uploaded now, so that kind of includes our backend. I also added our folder structure. I kind of just like to upload that. And now I think we need a new prompt. So let me just write that and we can kind of go through this. So you can see I uploaded my files from my YouTube search app project in our project knowledge, right? The next step in the project is to integrate the YouTube keyword search feature. This means we have to save the transcription from the YouTube download.js into a text file named transcription.txt. So we also need to make some changes to the script. Since the app needs timeframes from the video, we must chunk this transcription into 20-second chunks. So what I want is kind of like, I want one chunk with a time frame and like 20 seconds of text. So we get many chunks per video that we can kind of reference in our search, right? So each chunk must contain a time frame. This could be like this, and the transcribed text in that chunk. All of these chunks will be appended into the transcription.txt from the uploaded OpenAI docs2. We need to create a backend script that uses the OpenAI API structured outputs and SOD to extract timeframes and text based on the keyword search. So this is where we kind of gonna use structured outputs in our backend. So if we go to the documentation here from OpenAI, we found structured outputs. So I just copied this part here, right? So you can see we're gonna use SOD to kind of, so we can set kind of a type here we want to fetch, right? So if we go here, you can see I created an OpenAI docs2 where I just copied the information from the documentation here. And let's upload that into here. So OpenAI docs2, right? So we can reference that. Yeah, we can reference that here, right? So if the keyword search is found in the chunk, we need to return this to the search result front end, right? Create a step-by-step plan to integrate these features into our app, please. So I think we're gonna run this and see if we can get the features we want and how we can implement this into our project app. Okay, so we got the plan back here. So we're gonna modify our YouTube download.js, create a new backend script, update the server.js. So I think we're just gonna follow all these steps now. So let's go through these in detail. The first thing we're gonna do is modify our ytdown.js. So let's just copy that. Let's go back to our project, right? And let's modify this. So I'm just gonna, yeah, create a new code here. We're gonna create a new backend script. So this is gonna be called keyword search.js. Let's just copy that. And yeah, this is gonna be in our backend folder. So let's just create a new file, keyword search.js. And we're gonna grab the code here from Claude. So let's just copy that, paste it into our empty file here. Great. Update server.js. Yes, we can do that. Server.js. Simple copy paste. Of course, we could work with this using Cursor, but for now, we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna do projects in the future using just the IDE, right? But for now, I think we're just gonna do it like this. So here we need to modify our app.js. So this is on the front end part. So let's copy that. Go to our front end here, source app.js, update this. Okay. Yeah, I compiled. Good. And now we need to test and debug new features. So this means that we can test this now. So that's going to be pretty interesting, right? And so let's see, is our server running? Nope. So let's fire up our server again. Okay, so we have some issues here. So we are missing the SOD module. So let me install that. So let's just do npm install SOD, right? Should be pretty quick. Now let's try to run. Okay. Now let's try to run the server again. Yeah, it's running on port 5000. Okay, great. So now let's take a look at our app. We can copy this. Let's refresh this now. Input our URL. Okay, so now we don't see this. Okay, there we go. Here's the iframe. Great. So now let's hit transcribe while we are watching the console here for any errors. Looks good so far. Let's take a look at the backend. Okay, so you can see we have downloaded. I think we need to chunk this now. So let's just let this run for a while and see if we get any errors and see if this is gonna work right. Okay, so you can see we got our time frames here, so this looks pretty good. If we go into our backend now, you can see we got the transcription.txt here. This is almost like a JSON output, so maybe we should just have this as a JSON file instead of a text file. We can probably just upgrade to that. But first, yeah, I think this looks pretty good. 29. I guess the time frame here is a bit strange, right? So maybe this was just the first part. Yeah. We're gonna have to check on that. This looks a bit strange. But let this run for a while now and let's try it out. Okay, so I put in like Claude and I clicked search. So let's see if the search feature works here now. If we look at our backend, seems to be running fine. But let's see if we get something in return here. Okay, so we got the response back here. So you can see, yeah, this is looking pretty good. But let's just close this. But we have some issues here. You can see it kind of returned almost every single thing. We search for Claude, right? But we get some sentences that does not have Claude here. So I think we need to work a bit more on that. But I tried the links here. So you can see the links are kind of set up with the time frame. So if I click on this link now, you can see we were taken to the minute 2:40. And yeah, that was perfect. So this part is working. I think we just gotta work a bit more on this now and adjust it a bit more. So we can kind of hone in a bit, because this was very kind of all over the place. So let's try to, and you can see the time was wrong too, because the video is 14 minutes. It's not, how long was this? 28:20. That doesn't compute right. So let me come up with a prompt to try to debug this, and let's work a bit more on it and see if we can fix this. But think so far it's looking pretty good. So again, I just went back to our Claude project, updated kind of our new files. We have our new folder structure. We added keyword search.js. So I went ahead, I wrote down this prompt, I uploaded my files, the app is working okay, but we have some issues we need to fix. Number one, when we uploaded a 1441 minute long video, we got back the extracted time frames all the way to 20 minutes. This is wrong. The app depends on that the time frames are super accurate. Instead of the transcription.txt, we want to use a transcription.json with the fields time frame and text. And in SOD, we want the type to be time frame integers and text strings. Can you create a step-by-step plan to implement these changes to our app, please? So I think we're just gonna run with this and see if this can fix some of the issues we are experiencing. So let's get our plan here now, implement this and see if this helps us. Okay, so now we just need to follow the plan. The first thing we need to do is modify our yt-down.js. So I'm just gonna copy that. Quick fix over here, go to our backend, right? Update this. So we got 3 new lines there. And keyword search.js, we're gonna upgrade that. Keyword search.js, we added 3 lines there. And in app.js, we're gonna update that too, right? Need to go to our front end, source, app.js. We added 6 new lines, okay. So we need to actually do a few more things. So in our server.js, we need to add something here. So we wanna update. So let me just try to use Cursor for this now. So I'm just gonna copy this, right, and all the way down here. Let's copy that. Let's head to Cursor here now, and let's click on. We can click on our backend server.js, and then we can do Control L and paste in this, right? And I can do implement this into my server.js, please, and Control enter to take a look at our code base. And hopefully now we will just get like a quick change and we can actually implement this super easy into our code. So let's click on apply, generating. Okay, that was done. So let's save that. And yeah, that should be pretty much it. We can close this chat now. And if you go back here, we can run and start testing again and see if this made any improvements to our app now. So I'm just gonna restart our server running on 5000. And let's input our URL. Okay, so the iframe is working. Let's try to transcribe this again. Take a quick check on our console. Okay, now we have some errors here. So if we go down here, you can see, let's do a quick debug here. So we need to zoom out a bit. Okay, so we have some errors here. So let me do a quick debug on this. So what we can do, we can just highlight this, right? And we can do add to chat. And then we can ask, can you fix this please? Control enter. Okay, so you can see we get like an enter here. There are some problems with our YouTube DLP. To fix this, we need to modify something. Okay. So we can take play here, apply. Okay, so we are applying this. So let's accept that. And now we can try it again. Now we get a different error. So if you go back here now. Okay, now we ended up with a different error. So let's highlight this again. And let's do, now we get this error. Okay, so we need to apply something again, accept, save that. Let's stop it. And let's reload the server. Let's clear this, try to describe again. Okay, so now we are downloading. I can see that at least. So let's just let this run and see if we get the same errors. Okay, so here we have the transcription now. This is looking much better because now you can see we only go to 1430. Perfect. So this looks much better. And I kind of like the layout here, but I don't think we need to display this. So we can remove that in the future. But let's just try to search for something now. Okay, so let's try to search for rag now and see if we can actually return only the results that contains rag. So let's just let this run for a while and see if we can find only that. Okay, so we have some search results here, but you can see there are some issues here. For the first, we are returning even though we only have like a time frame. So I think we have some issues with the logic here because maybe I put this up so we returned. Here we kind of return that empty, but I kind of need to emphasize that we only return the search results that contain our keyword with the time frame. So we don't want empty. We don't want to return these empty ones, right? I'm really gotta hone in on the part here where, because sometimes we get responses that does not contain the word rag. So I think we need to work a bit on that. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. And I think we need to remove this displaying of the transcription here. Yeah, it just blows up our whole page. But yeah, let me try to fix that. But I think we are heading in the right direction now. So I just went back to Claude projects, uploaded my files. We have some issues. We don't need to display the transcription in the UI. Remove that. The search results are returning results with an empty text chunk, only time frame. This is not needed, so remove that to only return the results that contains the keyword. Also make sure that the search result must contain the keyword. Create a step-by-step plan to implement this. So let's just run that, and hopefully this gets us even closer to our finished app. Okay, so again, we get like a step-by-step instruction how we should do this. So let me just update all of our components, and then we can try to run this again to see if this made any changes. Okay, so I updated our components. Let's just restart the server. Let's refresh our app. Let's paste in our URL, and yeah, let's try it again. Okay, so the transcription was done. You can see we need to add something here that kind of gives to the user that the file has been transcribed. We need to add that. But now let's try to search for rag, right? Let's see if the search is better now. Okay, so we got like an instant search result. That only contained one search. Okay, let's try Claude. Okay, that's a bit better. You can say Claude. But I would guess that would be more, right? So let me double check this. So let's search for rag again. We can do small capital. 1331. So let me just check the transcript here. So let's just go to our transcription.json. Let's do a control F rag. Okay, so we only have one instance of rag. Okay, that's looked better. Let's search for Claude and let's count occurrences. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 occurrences. Okay, so we got multiple here. 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we had 11. So let's do Claude. Yeah, 10 out of 11. So yeah, that looked pretty good. Okay, that's interesting. So that seems much better now. Million tokens. Let's do tokens. Okay, we got a few hit on tokens. That was pretty good. So let's try it out now. So you can see we cached 138,000 input tokens. So let's try this link. But you can see we cached 138,000 input tokens, right? Okay. So if we go back to our app, you can see we cached 138,000. We cached 138,000 input tokens. Okay. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. So yeah, I think we are closing in now. So is there anything we want to change? I think we want to add like maybe some kind of UX feature here that kind of gives the user some indication of how long it's gonna take before the transcription is complete, right? Okay, and to do that, I use this prompt here. Unfortunately, I forgot to press record, so I'm just gonna have to go through it now. Great job. We have only one more thing we need to add. When we are transcribing the video, we need to give the user some information about the progress of this task. Can you create a progress bar to display the progress from 0 to 100 with filling a green bar? Find a smart way that calculates a good estimate of the completion of the task. No WebSockets. I don't want to use that here. So the idea I had was to make this simple. It's like I just took like a short video that was like 98 seconds long, and I kind of recorded how long it used to kind of transcribe and get this ready so we can search it. So the video was 98 seconds and it took 12 seconds to transcribe this. So I just went create a formula that estimates the time based on this video duration. So basically some simple maths this. Implement this feature, please. So we went ahead, we got a new server.js file here, we got a new ytdown.js. I updated all of this, we updated our front end a bit, we added some CSS styling. I had to go a bit back and forward here, we got a full new code. We need to update the UX a bit here. And I had to go a bit back and forward here because I had some small issues. Great, I wanted to add some text, so when we reached 100%, we could type out like transcription completed. You can now search the video below. Okay, so we added in that was fine. Let me see, I added something else here. If the user enters a keyword that is not found, return the message, this keyword is not in the transcription. So I thought that was quite important. So basically some UX upgrades here and some UI upgrades. And now let me show you how the app looks after we have updated all our components here. So yeah, I think we are pretty much, kind of at the final version now. So you can see the UI changed a bit here. We got some green buttons. So when I input my URL here now, yeah, this is pretty much the same. But when we click transcribe here now, you can see we get this progress bar here. So we're gonna go from like 0% up to like 100. So I think this is a big feature to add. Like if you're gonna have users, they kind of want to see how close this is to being completed, right? So let's just let this run now, and I'm gonna take you back when this is filled up and we can kind of see the text and we can start searching out and trying kind of the final version of the app, right? Okay, so you can see just 5% left. So when this completes now, we should get like a new pop-up text here. So you can see transcription completed. You can now search video below. Perfect. So we can go down here. So let's try to come up with a term that is probably not in the transcription. Let's do Google. Okay, so that was in this. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try Norway. Okay, the keyword is not in the transcription. I think that's a good thing too. Now let's do our Claude search here. So I'm kind of happy with the speed here. It's pretty quick. It just takes like a few seconds. And we kind of create the UI so where you can click the links and stuff, so you can see. We also changed up the UI a bit here. It's more like linear now. So we got the timestamps. We got all the links all the way to the end here. So I think it looks pretty smooth if you ask me. So let's try to click this one. Let's see if it works. Price when we have cached our input, right? And the output is gonna stay the same. Yeah, perfect. So that's good. So I'm pretty happy with how this looks now, and it kind of has all the features I wanted in my app. I wanted to kind of, you can see we can also play the video. So yesterday Anthropic in this iframe here if you wanted to do that, right? So I think that's pretty cool. We have the search bar, that works pretty nice. I like the UI. I really like the search results here. We can see the time frames, we can see all the links. I think that's important, right? And yeah, I like the UI, I like the progress bar and everything. So basically, this was all I wanted in this app. And it's a pretty easy app to use and very intuitive. So you kind of, when we refresh this, you kind of understand. I guess we could have some more information here at the start page. We could have like a title and maybe some quick instructions. I might add that. So let me just try to add some instructions here. And to do that, I just took like a screenshot, right? And I went, I'm super happy. I just want to add a title and a short, simple instructions on how to use the app at the start screen. The title can be YouTube Moments, and the subtitle is going to be Find the exact moment you need. Create a 3-step instructions to place the title and instructions over the search bars at the top of the UI. Implement these changes. So I'm just going to let this run and let's update our components, and hopefully this is our last iteration. Okay, so I updated our components. Now let's go back to our app. Perfect. I like this. So YouTube Moments, find the exact moment you need. Paste the URL into the input field, click transcribe and wait for the process, enter a keyword search to find the specific moments. Okay, great. So let's copy this again just to see. I'm not gonna try it out now, but I just want to see if the progress bar pops up now. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I just want to make one more change. I kind of want this YouTube here to be, this part should be in red and this in white. So let's try to use Cursor to do that. So if we go back here now, let's just highlight our app.js, right? And let's just do like Control L to chat. And let's do, we'll use app.js, right? So let's do like, on the title, YouTube Moments, the U should be in red, white should be, tube should be in white. Also updated app.css with the new colors. Okay, so we can do that. So let me just do a Control Enter here and see if we can get these changes. So hopefully now we will get the change both in our app.js and in our app.css, right? Okay, so you can see, first let's update our app.js file. So I'm just going to click here, continue. Okay, so we changed up, let me see if I can find it. We changed some lines here. Okay, so accept that. Now let's update our app.css, right? Replace with these lines. So let's see. I think we have to add these lines maybe. So let's continue. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let's save that. Let's save that. Let's go back here. Boom. Perfect. I guess moments here was in white too, but that's fine. That doesn't matter too much. But I kind of like this. I think it looks pretty good. It was a bit strange maybe. Maybe I have the full YouTube in red, right? That should be a really easy fix. Just go to our code here. Let's find our app title, right? I guess we could just move this tube part here over here. Let's just remove that, and I think that should be it. Let's compile, and if we go back here, yeah, that is basically it. So yeah, happy days. Let me just do a quick wrap up of how I kind of felt this project went. So this was the second app we have built now using this kind of workflow, and again, I'm super happy with the results. I think I spent around 3 to 4 hours on this, totally. I could have done it faster, but I like to do some small changes, but one thing we did new in this project was to actually add cursor, and I think I could have used this much more if I wanted to. So in an upcoming video I might actually do like a full video only using cursor. That might be something I want to try out. But super happy with this. I got still a bit of stuff to learn with this. I think we can do something in the CLI here, but that's gonna be explored in another video, I think. I also reached out to them, maybe we should do something together, so we'll see about that. But Cursor, pretty cool, pretty happy with this. And of course, Claude projects works nice. You can upload all your files here, use like custom instructions, and yeah, I kind of went over this. And of course, we can use our visual inputs, right? I guess I didn't mention that, but if we go here, Control L, you can see we can also insert images using Cursor. So that's an alternative too. And we didn't even look at the @mention here. So that's going to be in another video, I think. But again, yeah, a quick wrap up. I think the app turned out pretty good. Very easy to use. Kind of had all the features I wanted to have. So it was very smooth. No big hiccups. I guess the one thing I spent most time on, I think, was maybe just trying to calculate or find out how I should use that progress bar. That was basically the only obstacle I had. Again, super easy to kind of use the documentation from OpenAI. They have a great documentation page, so that was pretty easy. Trying out structured outputs here using SOD, so that was pretty cool. Other than that, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. I got a cool project going on now, so that's maybe gonna be the next video. That's a bit more comprehensive, but look out for that. Other than that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Hope you learned something, like I said, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. If you like this video, just give it a like and maybe subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and we speak soon.